Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to try to get one of these, or two. I have two of these Seagate ST-225 MFM hard drives, and I'm not sure if they work. That's one of them. Here's the other one. This one looks quite a bit more damaged, but nothing's broken. Not on the case or anything. I haven't done anything with these drives yet, but we're going to fix that today. To do that testing, I'm going to use this To do that testing, we're going to use this IBM motherboard out of a early 5160, the XT5160. This is the early 64 to 256 kilobyte system board, and all of these chips are MOSTEC, looks like. So are these ROMs up here. It says no copying permitted, all rights reserved, between the ISA slots there. This board stands on brass standoffs, which makes this very handy. Since it's elevated over the workbench, we can plug cards into it. The first of those cards is this Western Digital WD-XT Gen 2 Plus MFM controller. That looks like a good slot right there. The next one is an ISA floppy disk and serial controller. This is a newer designed product. It is also open source hardware. One of the plans by Seagate ST-225. I did not build this card, I bought it already built. With that, I'm going to use this Gotek flash floppy powered USB floppy adapter. For that, we're going to need a floppy cable. It plugs right into the card. You know how this goes. Then he's going to need power. All right. I suppose we're going to have to see this. Alright, for video, I'm going to use this HMC HM86314Q powered little video card. It looks like a 16-bit card, but it will work in 8-bit mode. I'll put that up front here. Plug him to video down here on the floor. Just like so. Then just for this initial board test, let's connect the power. On these connectors, all the black wires belong together. They'll be right in the middle of this connector, because all of those are ground. Just line them up at an angle Just slide them on. Get out of the way. Let's see if I can get you guys some eyes on this too. All right, let's see what we can do. I'm going to power this guy on and see if we get any signs of life. Power supply is on. Let's turn the power off. Put a postcard in there and see if, well, this won't give us postcodes. That postcard was showing something very strange. Let's move him up here. See if you guys can see that. Right here. Looks like it's counting. Well, let's pop the floppy controller out and the MFM drive controller out and see what we get. Same thing. Well, this might be a complicated issue for another time. All right, let's unplug this old 5160 board. Pop the cards out of him. There we go. Because it looks like the CPU is trying to execute code, but it's just not working properly. I got another board from my stash. This is an XT clone board. It says ProMag on that chip there. ProMag turbo board made in Japan. Well, let's connect him to power. This has a little different style connector, but this adapter, wait, this will connect just fine. Just like so. Let's put the video card in a slot. We'll turn him on and see what happens. put the postcard in, see if we get anything at all. Okay. Comes on for a second, immediately shuts off. That spells of a bad capacitor, or a short of some sort on this board. To connect it up properly. Nothing seems out of place. Well, I'm going to set this board aside, and we will try another one. I have a couple of these boards. Might as well try the other XT5160 board I have. This is the 256 to 640K version. Authentic IBM. This has the 8087 on board as well as the 8088. Not near so many MT or MOSTEC branded chips on here. Got some Motorola's on here for ROM chips. Pop the postcard in there. Put the video card like so. And we will connect power. Like we've done twice so far. And let's see what we get. We have rolling numbers like we did on the other 5160 board. Of course, you guys can't see that. See, there it goes. Maybe it's because of the video card. Let's pop him out and Alright, after feeling like an idiot because my video capture card was simply not plugged into power, it wouldn't show any video to me at all through my monitor or on the screen there. And now that I've found a working video card, we're going to put in the floppy controller and the video card on this later revision 256 to 256K to 640K XT board. We're going to see if we can't get it to boot off of this floppy emulator. And I have a keyboard attached. This is a PS2 to XT adapter with just my bench keyboard off to the side there off camera. Power is on. Change this to a bootable image. DOS 3.3 ought to work. There we can see it has no errors so far, and it's counting up the memory. That top part doesn't normally show up on XTs, but it's the video card BIOS. What's that all about? Apparently we're going to set up the multi-floppy BIOS configuration utility. What's the current settings? Drive 0 is right. Drive 1, 1.2 meg. We don't have a 1.2 meg. Alright, we'll delete drive 1. We'll write that and exit. We will just quit and we'll see what happens. And we're in BASIC. Let's power this off. I'll look at the settings of this floppy controller and we'll see what we can figure out. Alright, we're powering on again. Looks like write protection was enabled on the card. Going through a memory test. We're getting a 601 error. Let's try to delete drive 1 again and write it to this card's going to need some configuration. That went through without error. Boot failed. Looks like it's reading this image. All right, we actually got it to boot to DOS. That's awesome. What is that other image though? I just switched to the what? There's nothing on there. That's why it couldn't boot. All right, now that we know we can get him to boot, let's let's power this guy off, and we'll plug in these two drives just to see what happens. Power off the machine. Put that floppy emulator aside. We will plug in the drive controller. Now each drive needs two cables. The first one is this wider cable, and it'll plug on. This one is keyed. It'll plug only one way into the card. But if you have one of these and yours does not have that key, the red stripe goes to pin 1, which is clearly labeled on this card. These are notched for, it says drive C and D. All right. Going to attempt to plug both of these in on this little cable. But this is proving difficult. Looks like right there will be about the best position for those. Now we need to give them power. Come here. All right, we'll put this drive to power. Like so. Then we'll put this one. Now, both of these drives need these two edge connectors connected as well. That's what these cables are for. On the controller, which I'll pop out of here for demonstration purposes, it's labeled DR0, DR1. That's drive 0, drive 1, or C and D. Again, the red stripe goes to pin 1. This being drive C, much like on floppy drives, which coincidentally are also encoded with FM or MFM. There is a twist in the cable to differentiate between one drive and the next, with the twist being the primary or C drive. And these are keyed, but again, red stripe goes toward pin 1. This guy has no red stripe, but we'll connect it just like this one, with everything going the same directions, like so, and like so. And we'll turn this around. Get everything out of the way. Plug him into the board. Get this up here where we can see him. Then we'll listen to those drives spin up. think I heard them both test. $640K. No errors so far. It tested the floppy drive. We get a 1701 error and a 601 error. $1701 is the disk controller. That's to be expected. But it booted off the floppy. Okay. I have Speed Store on here. Let's run that and see what happens. He's not detecting any hard drives at all. S-Store is done. Okay. I'm going to look at the settings for this card, make sure they're set up, set up properly, at least to the best of my knowledge. And we'll try this again in a little bit. Okay, we are rebooted again. No errors. We're going to try a drive initialization utility called Speed Store. OR. Should launch that for us. It's on a floppy image I have on this USB stick in my floppy emulator. I had set the MFM controller to set the MFM controller to IRQ 2. It's back to IRQ 5 now. Maybe that will help us, except it's still showing way too many cylinders. We're going to try to initialize the drive anyway. Yeah, I don't think that's working. And it's frozen. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Maybe that drive's not giving the right information either. But the drive detects without any errors. Maybe it's a problem on the drive. The card's set up properly. Well, let's try a different cable. I'm going to unplug this cable. I believe I have another one. This one is a Wise branded cable. Let me turn around here, see if I can find a different. Dude. That's clearly a floppy cable. MFM drives and floppy drives both have a 34-pin cable, but they are not interchangeable. Aha, found my other cable. Let's plug that into the card. Then the end past the twist to the hard drive. All right, let's see if this works. You can hear the drive making its seek noises. We went through the memory test, no errors. That's the floppy card's BIOS. It went through initial post without any errors. No system disk. Well, yeah. We have to set the right. There's my DOS 2.11 image. Should boot just fine now. And there we go. We'll go back to the speed store image. We'll see what this gives us. And it's not any better. It's doing a seek test though. Seek operation failed. Well, of course. I'm just going through the menus here. It's still not we can change the drive type. This is a Seagate ST-225. Let's see if it initializes with those. Will it initialize? Drive's clicking, says it'll take around 4 minutes. You can hear that knocking around. Well, I'll come back with you guys. I'll come back to you guys in about 4 minutes. As you can see on screen, this drive, as I suspected, has several bad sectors. As you see, it's formulating a defect table as we speak. There's a lot of problems with head 2, a couple with head 3, a few with head 0. It goes 0, 1, 2, 3 as a 4-head drive. I'm going to let this finish and report back to you, but this drive, while it seems to be mostly working, we'll see what it initializes out as. And we're back. And we're back. That 4-minute drive initialization seems to have taken about, we're going on an hour and 10 minutes at this moment. as you can see on your screen, right there are 289 defects it found. I know on the screen it shows a whole lot on head 3, but there's a whole lot on head 2, several on 1, and several on head 0 as well. I am marking the bad tracks. I don't know if this is going to be a growing problem or not, but I may not use this drive for anything terribly serious. I mean, it's an MFM hard drive that's quite old. I'm not sure exactly how old, but over 30 years old for certain. 35 maybe. Might be pushing 40. I wouldn't use it for anything terribly serious anyway. But given the condition of this drive, or it looks like it was drug along concrete with all the scratch marks, even the 225 label is kind of scratched. Right now the bad tracks are being marked as it's going through the... You can probably hear the drive making noises. We're going to let that go through, and then we'll see if we can put anything on the drive and see what the final size ends up being. Going to let this finish, and I'll get back with you. Alright, it is written the 289 entries into the defect table that's on the drive, marked each of those defects on the drive. Now we can go back to the menu. We'll go ahead and get out of here. Now we'll see if FDisk does anything at all for us. Not from that disk, clearly. Let's change that back to the DOS 2.11 disk. Alright, there's the FDisk. Looks like it's from a compact system. Fixed Disk Management version 1.00. Pretty old. But it looks pretty standard. Well, has the standard menu options anyway. We will use the entire disk. Insert MS-DOS disk drive A, press enter when ready. Looks like it's going to do a soft reset. There we go. We'll do a format C. See if it'll take the /S. Press any key to begin formatting drive C. There's the any key. Yes, we will continue. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's making soft little knocking noises as it formats. Well, this is going to take a minute. I'll come back to you once this is finished. Well, the format completed. It says there are a little over 21 million bytes of total disk space, 57,344 bytes, or 57K used by the system. 4.89 million bytes in bad sectors, leaving the disk to be roughly 16 megabytes in size. Well, that's quite a lot of bad sectors, but it could be working. The format went without any trouble. It wrote the system on the drive. It reads the disk just fine. Now let's see if we can reboot the machine from that hard drive. This might take a minute to boot. Well, there we go. There's the VGA BIOS displaying its message. There's the floppy controller with its message. We're not going to do that. It's trying to boot from the floppy. I can see it blinking there. And it did boot from the floppy. Let's try that again. We'll just remove that USB stick from the drive, and we'll restart again. Again with the VGA BIOS. I suspect this will work, but knock on wood. Boot failed, error 80. Press F. Well, I think I jinxed myself. It booted just fine. The BIOS on the floppy controller looks like it was preventing booting because it was expecting to boot from the floppy. Well, that's fantastic. So it has a lot of bad sectors, but the drive seems to work. Well, I thank you for joining me on this little adventure full of misadventures. But it looks like we got one drive working. Toasted one that I hope I can get working in a later video. And again, thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a nice evening.